And so today we're going to get into the 8 lunar phases. But within that, you'll see that there's so much more. And as we know, we're always experiencing cycles upon cycles. So smaller cycles playing out upon backdrops of larger cycles. The moon is very personal, right? It's representing the entire zodiac. Astrology itself represents the evolution of consciousness through stages. But as I said, the moon is like this micro cycle. So the moon itself is representing the evolution of our consciousness through stages. So we can track that. So that's why, there's just so many people aren't paying attention to it and don't believe it and aren't tuning in, but it is happening. It's always happening. So as astrologers, we know this. It's happening regardless. And it's so when we do tune in, we have that advantage to not only feel more aligned, in rhythm, balanced. There's an element of that we're guided, or that we can tune into a guidance system. For me, I've really used it in a way that as emotional beings, where things are always sort of coming at us or coming up from us, we can use the lunar cycle as a way to understand that this too shall pass. Knowing that when something is happening, I always have the awareness of every week is the main trigger point, essentially. Like the new moon, the quarter moon, the full moon, the quarter moon, transitioning through the dark moon, and then the new moon. And those points are going to be major transitional stages in psyche, in consciousness. So the more and more you tune in, there is the process of aligning. Like, we can utilize what's outside of us to align. I really get into a process, but also teaching about how the lunar cycle represents the hero's journey. So any of you that really go into the teachings of the hero's journey, the lunar cycle really represents that in a beautiful way. How basically each month we are all obviously growing, and we can see how the lunar cycle is representing this, right? So we do clear space. We become more aware. We grow. We realize things. We accomplish things. We let go of things each and every cycle. So in our own, relative to our own reality, relative to our own sort of intentions and rate that we're moving at. So they represent that, those kind of lessons that we will be faced with an external reflection and potentially a conflict. And so when we're moving through space and we can feel that, I'll use the lunar cycle as knowing that when the moon, there's going to be a break in energy. Building up to the quarter moon, it can start getting really intense potentially, or you can start feeling like you need to make a move or something needs to change. And we come to these critical masses. So this is what I've observed. Wherever we are in life, particularly the 4 major phases will bring us to these critical mass points. Obviously relative, right? It doesn't always have to be a big grand experience, but even in the subtlety of our life experience or our awareness or how we're just growing and moving, we can still really benefit from understanding where we are in the cycle, that there will be this critical peak point, because that is what conjunctions, squares, oppositions, the joining in this way, it's the sacred geometry, the power of the alignment.